Hi all, hope everyone is safe. Myself Karthik Tumala, leading adaptive integration platform for Unilever. First of all, thanks to Solas management team for organizing EDA Summit and also giving us opportunity to present Unilever success stories. To start with, about the company, we are one of the world's largest consumer goods company. We are known for our great brands, a global footprint, our belief in doing the business in the right way. Our products are available in 190 countries. Our turnover in 2020 was 51 billion euro, with 58% in emerging markets. We have very strong 25 million global network of retailers. So we make many of the world's favorite brands. 2.5 billion people use our products every day. We have over 400 brands. 81% of our brands are top 2 in their markets. Our purpose is to make sustainable living commonplace. It's why we come to the work. It's why we are in the business. It's how we inspire exceptional performance. We have improved the health and hygiene of 1.3 billion people since 2010. 67% sustainably sourced agriculture raw materials. We strongly believe brands with purpose grow, companies with purpose last, people with purpose thrive. Coming to the digital transformation, this epidemic accelerated our digital journey and provided much needed acceleration. Unilever is always in forefront in adapting the new technologies and the change the way we do the business and the way we communicate and the way we create value for economies and individual business. Coming to the event-driven architecture, EDA is new imperative. Business needs more real-time data to unlock the value. Last year, we have started EDA journey with Solas as strategic technology. We have liberated some of the enterprise data for manufacturing, logistics, master data, and R&D. So for this session, we have picked up one success story from logistics area. I'll hand out to my colleague Pranav. We'll take you through the business use case. Thank you.
Thanks, Karthik. So let me first introduce myself. I am Pranav. I work as a solution architect in the integration team of Unilever. Coming to the ocean logistics space, right? As Karthik already established, the Unilever as an ecosystem is very large, and we serve close to 2.5 billion consumers from 190 countries. Now, in order to serve these, our ocean logistics is one of the tying parts in the entire ecosystem, right? A very important leg for the logistics. So if you have to reach out to these many consumers with out of these countries, it's a complex process. We have close to tie-ups with 25 shipping lines and 400 ports across the globe, which translates to every like at any given time 12,000 containers in sea crisscrossing across the ocean in 1,500 ships. So if you just think of it, by the time you finish this session off, there would be close to 10 Unilever containers already which would have started the journeys. So ocean logistics in itself is a huge space where Unilever operations are concerned. Now, if we talk about the digital transformation program around ocean logistics, right? So one of the things which we did was the virtual ocean control tower. The VOCT is, as you know, it's a control tower for ocean logistics in the shipping space. Now, shipping is one of the oldest industries in the world and has numerous touch points, right? And across all these, there are multitudes of information that don't talk to each other. So as a concept, what is virtual ocean control tower? It's basically the entire set of information which a logistics in particular and a supply chain in general needs comes to them at hand. The photo which you see here is basically our front end interface for the VOCT, where you can see thousands of ships in their real-time location across the globe sending out information. And this does not stop at the visualization. It ties up the entire information around the ship logistics, what material they are carrying, where they are headed, what is the transshipment port, are they stopping somewhere. All those information comes across and gets tied in the VOCT. So what has the VOCT in general resulted into, right? If I just talk about how the ocean logistics space in Unilever has started migrating to a paradigm shift, I'll just take some examples around that, right? So think of it that before VOCT, we were mostly reacting to events which were happening. From there, now we have gone to a proactive mitigation strategy where people already know things which could happen, and then they try to proactively mitigate things. Then, as the shipping industry had various touch points, people used to request for data from various multi sources, right? Now from that, they've gone into coming to VOCT and getting usable insights out of it. Then from a thing around reviewing performance post events, we have gone into a place where now we are planning for future events because the data is available real time. So a lot of things start changing from a business operations point of view, and we are seeing that results happening on ground, right? Now, just to talk about some of the results which we could achieve through VOCT, uh, let's talk about the Suez Canal blockade, which is a very recent event where just for everyone to be on the same page, uh, we had a ship getting blocked in Suez Canal, which is the called chicken neck of the world, because it, from a shipping point of view, it connects Europe with Asia Pacific, right? And it's the shortest route to actually go there. So which means if it is blocked, you have to go across the Cape of Good Hope, and that means more time, more fuel, and more planning on every side, right? So when the blockage happened, obviously it was a big event in the ocean supply chain world. And what we did was, because of VOCT, within an hour, we were able to understand which ships are going into the Suez Canal, and we could communicate that to our entire network of ocean logistics in the start, and peripherally those information started cascading into the overall supply chain. The planners knew, the supply planning team knew, the replenishment team started getting information around this. And then when it is a trickle down effect, and we were able to react really quickly compared to a previous thing where VOCT was not present, right? So this actually starts giving you the real power of having end-to-end visibility, and that to real time. So because of that, we could strategically divert some of our ships across Cape of Good Hope, and for some who were going to get stuck, we were able to plan things properly from a supply chain point of view. Coming to one more peripheral benefits which we have now started to think about is the shipping emission. So just to give out facts, right, the shipping industry, if compared on a country level, would be the 6th highest country from a carbon footprint point of view. So if that bigger industry, we have to make a sustainability impact, it's huge opportunity, right? And we if like Karthik had mentioned, Unilever has a huge sustainability goal. We actually are committed to a net zero emission from all our products by close to 2039. So from that angle, if you talk about it, the one thing which we could do as our part in the entire thing was tie out the emission data into the shipping data. Now VOCT, imagine that there are ships moving around, there are container data, there is material data, everything of the ship is or of the container is tied together, right? And now if you can tie up the carbon emission data also, then you can plan on optimizing it. Then you can do several other things which the business has a lot of things in the pipeline once things start coming together. So that's the idea of having real-time visibility and then scaling it up to start thinking of more things around that, right? So taking a side step now, from a business point of view, if we come to the tech world, how did we actually go about having VOCT, right? So tech, the major challenge which we had, which we were focused on getting visibility at the start, was that, as you know, shipping being one of the oldest industry had too many touch points. Not just shipping, like every country would have separate laws, would have separate systems in which they work, and then you get a complex, you know, ecosystem of custom agents, port authorities, inland transporters, freight forwarders, and everybody has their own mechanism which works, right? So which basically translates to a fragmented information in the entire shipping ecosystem. So the primary challenge which tech had was that how do we bring about an end-to-end visibility in the entire system, right? While coming to the VOCT approach, while VOCT started as a very small MVP during COVID, so the first problem which came across to us was that there is a delay in information coming to the shipping operations, and can we fast track it? Can we make it real time? Can we automate it? That was the first problem which we had to solve, and which basically started the entire VOCT journey, right? So taking one data information, which was ocean events happening in the world, and bringing that together to one dashboard was the first task on which how we started VOCT. Now the entire tech driven was that we thought that, okay, let's bring this data and populate it in a dashboard. When you think of it from a very standalone approach, right, we could have done several things there. It could have been a point-to-point integration. It could have been a normal way, a file transfer, anything around that which could have just satisfied the business need which was there of an hour. But we just thought that, you know, let's take a side step and think about it, because these are events getting transmitted. This is getting it real time. We thought, let's do it the event driven way, where we had a broker in between, which was powered by Solace, and we started getting events from a data source into the broker. Now the broker was sending that data to the dashboard. If you compare this exact project, right, with a normal anywhere integration project, it takes almost the similar time, the similar effort, and nothing changes. But this small change in our entire approach actually started giving us huge business benefits later. So now, fast forward it to a month later, the business started asking us to put 2 or 3 more data sources into the entire design, right? And again, the simplified version of it, actually how it worked was, we told the data sources to just start topic tagging and sending the data to the event broker. Now we at that time did not realize the benefits when it was 2 or 3. But what happened there was the second, third, fourth data source, when we started onboarding it, from the business telling about it, from the business brainstorming workshop, till the time it was in production, it just took us less than 2-3 weeks to actually get into production, and the business giving that results to the operations. This way in turn encourage the business to add more data feeds, to add more consumers, to build more dashboards. And then eventually you see, when the business and tech partnership happens with the business insights which they can bring in, it results into a huge business value unlock. And this is the power of EDA, where your system of development becomes so agile that it is business has to say, and you can incorporate that really easily with a lot of flexibility, right? So eventually this resulted into this architecture, which basically now every data source just punches the data, sends the data as events into the Solace event platform, And we have multiple visualization engines, multiple dashboards. We also have data lake where we send that data, and that is getting used for multiple things, which the business is now realizing the value of, right? So that in short was the VOCT story, and how EDA actually powered it, giving the business more motivation to bring in additional features, and that they could do it really easily. So coming to the last slide, I wanted to just, while our journey, as Karthik mentioned, is really early, and we have been doing EDA for the past 7-8 months now, but there are big learnings which we have now, not just from VOCT, but from other business lines as well. So just my 2 cents around EDA in an enterprise like Unilever is that when you do EDA, it leads to more agility in the development cycle, as we already demonstrated that in the VOCT place, right? This in turn reduces the time to market, which can give you immense benefits, because the business then stops treating this as a one problem to solve, and then starts stitching everything together to give a huge value unlock from a business point of view, which is an added benefit once you start doing this. One more thing, which again is my personal point of view and can be debated, but the thing is that topics can be thought as pseudo data models, right? We have, in the integration world, we know how difficult it is to eventually think of even enterprise data models. And the thing is that topic actually gives you a dimension where it is not a data model particularly, but it's still conveying you same information to route it. Now, if you think of it as a pseudo data model and you standardize the hierarchy, which you obviously have to do in the taxonomy, it can give you immense benefits, because everybody then knows that they have to publish it on this structure of the topic, which makes the life of things really, really easy. Because even if you, and the flexibility which the topic gives you is that even if you don't have fields, you can always have things around how, like, you can always have things around it, right? The next thing, which is event mesh, right? The event mesh with EDA enables the enterprise to move away from the culture of batch pole sync. Now, batch pole sync, I'll not say is wrong every time, but a lot of times there is a resistance, because batch is a preferred and most understood way of working. So you can unlock a lot of data value if we just move away a little from the culture of batch and pole sync. This eventually, if you talk about the entire things, it results into reusable data objects. So EDA only works if you think about it from creating more reusable data objects. If you think about self-servicing these data objects from a business line, and if you try to go for a loosely coupled architecture, which helps in the plug and play, right? And the entire thing, which at least we have realized, is that the entire value chain of data movement, right, from the source till the target in the middle layer, everyone becomes more efficient if you go from an EDA. Just to give you an example, if I compare it with a legacy way of doing things, a source had let's say a method built in. There were 5 different consumers who are coming and asking for the data. They can ask the data at various things, and usually what it translates to is that the database gets queried multiple times at multiple frequency and at multiple loads, and everybody has to do it. But if you think of this as a distributed architecture or a distributed way of doing things, the source owns the data, right? And it knows when it changes, or it knows when things happen to the data. It actually is very intuitive that the source communicates that to the outside world only once. And once it communicates, then the entire systems became operational, because they can consume the data at their own sweet time. So if you just reverse the entire thing, at least we have experienced that it makes the entire capacity across the value chain really efficient, right? So these were some of the learnings which we had in Unilever when we have started the EDA journey. And yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone.